The 1-2 again. Inside the target. The Royals, 2015 World Champions.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Royal Way Podcast. This is episode 3 here, week 3 of the off season, I'd say, of us doing the podcast. This is Nick Wyman. I am here this Thursday rainy morning here in Nebraska, where I am from, and we have a lot to dive into today. We will look at some rumors around the managerial role. We will look at some Arizona Fall League stats for 2 players, and we'll look at what I think will be coming up here in the next couple weeks, what will happen with the Royals, and I'll look at some fan questions as well, and I'll talk about what happened in those Game 5s last night and what I expect from the rest of the postseason from today until the World Series Game 7, whenever there is a Game 7, or the World Series Game 5, 6, or 7, or whenever it is. So I think we should start off with some managerial news, not around the Royals, but around the San Francisco Giants. It seems with Bruce Bochy retiring, it seems that Pedro Grifol is one of the names being mentioned for the Giants positioning as the manager. And that worries a lot of us Royals fans. He's been, assistant here, and the players really like him. He's a player-liked coach, and if the Royals lose him, that's who everyone wants him to be the manager for the Kansas City Royals right now. And, if the Giants are ahead right now and want him, Giants could get him. It really depends on what happens. And that's just the news that's going out, because if he gets hired by the Giants, I think 100% Mike Matheny is coming to Kansas City. I think it's between those two right now. I really think it's just those two. And it really depends what Pedro does. If Pedro goes to San Francisco, then we get Mike Matheny. If Pedro does not go to San Francisco, he's staying here and becomes a manager in Kansas City. So I think it's between those two. And that's really all the managerial news we have around Kansas City. Nothing really crazy happening. We're waiting for the new ownership, so we might be the last team to name a manager, which is kind of worrying, but we'll see what happens from there on. In the next couple of weeks, I think, next couple of weeks or months, I think with the season, the season's wrapping up and the playoffs will wrap up, I think the Royals will have a couple of decisions to make. They have about 3 things I'm looking to see coming in from now until opening day is what I'd say I'm waiting for. And one thing is the negotiation between their TV broadcast network, Fox Sports Kansas City. They're continuing to negotiate, but in a bit of a holding pattern right now, it seems. So far, it seems to believe that the Royals have presented Fox Sports Kansas City, FSKC, with a counteroffer, and they recently are waiting to hear back from Fox Sports Kansas City. It was reported by Jeffrey Flanagan at MLB.com a few months back. The Royals were hoping for a new deal that would be between $48 million and $52 million per year range. So the Royals are just waiting to hear back from their TV broadcast network, FSKC, Fox Sports Kansas City. So I would say in the next couple months, maybe weeks, we see, because I know the radio network 610 Sports in Kansas City agreed on a contract, so I feel like this will happen and see how much that changes anything. $48 to $52 million a year for a TV to broadcast your game, that's pretty good money, I think. Another thing I'm looking forward to the end of the year, I think the Royals will have a platoon system at first base next year. I think with the Royals seem to very high on Ryan McBroom, who they got from the Yankees at the end of the year. I think Ryan McBroom and Ryan O'Hearn are going to platoon next year. I think that's something to look forward to in spring training. I will always think that, because I really like Ryan McBroom, how he finished the year, and never really got a shot in the majors with the Yankees. And I think it's going to be him and O'Hearn battling it out for a possibly platooning. And Dozier will get his fair share for his base too. Witt will probably get a fair share too. But I think those two are going to be battling it out for first base, see who gets more playing time. Another thing I look at is starting pitching. The Royals, they might sign a veteran guy for a low minimum deal. A veteran could be brought back in the offseason. I could see that for sure, which would make sense. help the pitching because the pitching is very young and they need a lot of help. And maybe the veteran, like what they did with Homer Bailey, and if he does well, we can trade him. I would not be shocked by that. There's a lot of questions around 3 players getting traded. I don't think the Royals will trade Soler. I don't think the Royals will trade Witt. And I don't think the Royals will trade Danny Duffy in the near future. Soler, I think he is going to get a contract extension for sure this offseason. He's going to be a Royal, and I really hope he is because he had one of the best hitting seasons in Kansas City Royals history, and he was the home run champ in the AL. Do not trade him. Danny Duffy, he's been struggling a couple weeks, but I think, you have to have him until the young wave of the next pitching prospects come around. So we'll just wait and see what happens between those 3 guys coming over the offseason. In other news, behind the major league teams, we have the minor league teams right now currently. The 2 members of the Royals 2018 draft class are all-stars in the Arizona Fall League. The Arizona Fall League's been going on for about a month now, maybe I'd say, month and a half. And the Royals have had some accomplishments this year. They had Jackson Kowar and Brady Singer shine this year in Double-A. Jonathan Bolin threw a no-hitter this summer in Class A. And now on Tuesday, which was 2 days ago, a pair of Royals prospects from the 2018 draft class were named to the Arizona Fall League All-Star game. Left-handed pitcher Daniel Lynch and outfielder Kyle Isbell. Lynch's stats here I have in front of me. Lynch has a 0.82 ERA and 11 innings pitched over his 3 starts, the Surprise Saguaros. And with that, he is tied for the 3rd in the league with 17 strikeouts in those 11 innings. And for Kyle Isbell, he's played 12 games. He's batting .333 and a .455 on base percentage so far. A couple home runs. So if you're looking forward, if you're an off-season baseball guy and you want to see these 2 Royals prospects playing this All-Star game, it is played on Saturday in Scottsdale, and the game begins at 7 p.m., will be broadcast on MLB Network, and can be streamed on MLB.com. So if you're a big minor league baseball guy, there you go. It's going to be on national TV, it'll be on MLB Network and MLB.com at 7 p.m. on Saturday, live from Scottsdale at Talking Stick. So you can watch those 2 prospects shine and show off their skills with many other All-Stars. So congrats to Daniel Lynch and Kyle Isbell on making the Arizona Fall League All-Stars in 2019. And that's all I really have for the show this week. During the offseason, we're not going to have super long shows. I mean, when the season starts out, we may get a little longer to talk about. It has only been about 8 minutes or so, but we have some fan questions to get to as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, and we have a lot of we have about 3 fan questions to get to. And I haven't really looked into them, so we'll see how they go. Our first one is from Rupert, at Royal Rupert. He said, have the Royals lost faith in Richard Lovelady? Do you see him stepping up his game in 2020? Richard Lovelady was kind of up and down. I feel like he had a pretty weird season. He was kind of up and down. And I don't think they've lost faith in Richard Lovelady. I think we may see him in the minors to start the year. And if any injuries happen, I think he comes up maybe in May or so. Or somebody struggles, he comes up in May. So I think Richard will be on the team. That next year will be a big year for Richard Lovelady, deciding how he goes. I mean, we'll see what happens. He has pitched out of the bullpen a lot, and I felt like we didn't see him a lot throughout the year. I feel like he was kind of in the doghouse, but we'll see what we get out of Richard Lovelady in 2020. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Richard Love? Put in the comments. Do you think Richard Lovelady will have a big year next year and a bounce back year? At Royal Rupert also said, do you see Kyle Zimmer finding the command he needs to blow away the league? Kyle Zimmer, we saw his first major league season. He played the whole season. Was up and down. He played in Omaha a couple times for about a month and a half, I'd say, in last year. Kyle Zimmer, do you think he'll find the command he needs? Yes. He struggled with command. He has this arm strength. He throws about 97, 99, I think, fastball I saw last year. And he does have the speed and the velocity to blow away the league. But his command is not great. He was walking a lot of batters in the majors. I don't know if it's rookie nervous, if he's nervous, if he's got the jitters. I don't know what it was, but his command was kind of all over the place. And this is the thing I see. You know, I think he's out of options. So I think if he finds the command, great. He'll be a great pitcher for the Royals. He'll be a great bullpen pitcher. It'll be fun to watch. Be great. But if he doesn't, he'll find his way to another team, and he'll have to continue to find the command. That's the only way to put it. It's going to be, if he does, he does. If he doesn't, then sorry. Then another team's going to have to try to figure it out. That's just how it's going to go with Kyle Zimmer. And our final fan question is, where do the Royals upgrade? Oh, sorry. This is from the Royals Report at Royal Report, Kev, my bad. Where do the Royals upgrade this offseason the most? Rotation, bullpen, outfield, or infield? Outfield, I think, is fine. I would not touch the outfield. It's young. I would not touch the outfield. Infield, I think, is good. You got Mondesi, who will be back by opening day. Nicky Lopez, Witt, O'Hearn, McBroom, Dozier, Cuthbert. I think you're fine. Outfield, like I said, you got Nick Heath, who's in the minors. You have Brett Phillips. You got Bubba Starr. They have Alex Gordon, who potentially might not be back, but we'll see. You also have, Jorge Soler. You have plenty of outfielders. Rotation, I think there's a lot of young guys in the rotation. But I think the rotation or the bullpen, those are going to be the ones you have to upgrade the most. Bullpen, I don't know if you'll be able to sign like some big guys. But if I was somebody, I'd sign a veteran guy. I would sign a veteran. There are maybe I think there's 2 veteran guys I've seen that I've seen linked to Kansas City. I've seen James Shields. He was here in 2013. I could see him making a return to Kansas City. And Drew Smiley he used to play for the Tigers. Those are the 2 I could see, the Royals getting for pitching to come back. I could also see Jake Diekman making his way back to Kansas City. Those are the 3 I could really see. I haven't really heard anything else. I haven't really looked into who all free agents this year. But if I had to pick out of the rotation, the bullpen, the outfield, and the infield, I'd probably rank it as 1 being the most needed versus 4 being the least needed. I'd go 4 infield, 3 outfield. This is tough. 2 rotation, 1 bullpen. And not that the bullpen, they have some spots. They just could not get it done. They just could not get it done when we had leads. Royals were 5-30 something and in June in 1-run games after the 6th inning or something like that. Don't take me word for word on that, but I remember seeing something like that, and it was not pretty. And yeah, I did not think it was. Well, we saw the Game 5s last night. Cardinals and the Nationals moving on to the NLCS. That should be fun. And tonight, the Astros and the Rays play. My predictions look terrible so far on the NL side. Besides, I did pick the Cardinals to move on to the NLCS, but I did pick the Dodgers to beat the Nationals. And so I did pick the Dodgers to go to the World Series too. So some of my predictions are a little screwed up. If I had to pick now, I'd pick the Cardinals and the Astros in the World Series, and I have the Astros. So that might change, knowing my luck. I might have just jinxed both teams, but we will see. So thank you guys for joining us here on the show. About a 15-minute long show. Covered a couple topics in really quick manner. You can follow the show on Twitter at The Royal Way Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Nick Wyman. You can follow our YouTube channel, which you might be watching on right now, The Royal Way Podcast on YouTube. And you can follow our Podbean, which is on The Royal Way Podcast if you're listening on there. Those are your ways to listen. Thank you guys for joining us this week. It was episode 3. Been a lot of fun so far on Thursdays mornings to get you guys listening. And next week we'll have another show, and we'll be ready to go. And we'll see if any big news happens the next week for the Royals and how many rumors will fly around the league as the ALCS and the NLCS start and kick off their way and make their way pushed to the postseason, through the postseason. Excuse me. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens between the Cardinals and Nationals, a fun series, and the Yankees versus Astros or the Rays. Thank you guys for joining us. Enjoy your rest of your weekend, and see you next Thursday.